quite enough yet. Now, my first show, I got down to 129. And that was probably like my best weight as far as show goes. And I've had a lot of trouble hitting it since then. I'm not going to lie. But because I wasn't hitting that weight and because I wasn't getting that low down in body fat, I just kept doing shows until like I'd hit 2 years. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get a little exhausted now. And people are like, well, I don't know how you did that for that long anyway. Because even in natural bodybuilding, if you're checking all those boxes and if you're doing all the things to be truly competitive, I mean, a year is pushing it. And then you need to go back into your off season,
Yeah,
which I learned that the hard way.
because the body can only take so much, especially
Yep.
like people think that a lot of these bodybuilders stay all ripped and shredded all year long. They can't. You
Nope.
can't maintain that, because you're really going to put strains on like your lungs, your kidneys, your heart. Recently, there was a young lady who passed away because she was, because dehydration.
I've seen
And
that a lot.
yeah, that happens quite often. We see just had a lady who was murdered by her husband. That was crazy. But I think if you understand all the aspects of bodybuilding, from the exercise to training, the dieting is, I think, the most important part of it because
It is.
I've known competitors who tell me, George, even though I might take a performance enhancers or pads, if if I don't follow my program, stick to my
Mhm.
diet and my training, most people are not going to look like what I do. Because you just think
Yeah.
I take pop of pills and you're gonna look like shit. Right here, you got my man here, KL the Wanderer coming through. He says, "Good evening, KL. Thank you for coming through, brother." Yeah.
So, like you were saying, it's not it's not anything more than an enhancer. So you can do all the workouts that you want all day long. You can do all the cardio that you want all day long. But if you're still eating like crap, and that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way too, because I've got a food addiction, and I mean you, like I said earlier, I like my food. So I mean, until I got my nutrition right, I sat there spinning my wheels.
So
Oh, yep,
yeah, you still there? Because
yep. Did it freeze up on you?
I no, I don't think so. Like you were talking, but then you stopped. You must
Oh,
have to.
oh, you're good. I was just saying that with without the appropriate nutrition, I mean, I was doing like 2 hours of cardio a day and I still wasn't moving. So it was like, this is a very important piece that until you put that in place and get it locked in, you're just not going to have the results that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's the thing about that. You have to be persistent, consistent, and also focused when you are competing as a bodybuilder. We have here another comment. Shout out to my man KL. He says this. He says, "Food addiction is a motherfucker. I can tell you the truth. Yeah, being a fat man. I mean, it's just like there was a movie called New Jack City, Chris Rock. And sometimes
Mhm.
there's certain foods that you be liking, you acting like it be calling my name, man. It be calling my name. It be calling me, calling me. Like one is my favorite is Chinese food. There's a
Yeah.
place that's like about 10 miles from where I stay. It's a buffet. I was there earlier this month and I got myself 2 plates. I just had a doctor's visit. Everything was good, and I rewarded myself. I didn't eat all of them. I ate like one part of. I think I lasted at least 4 days on it. I ate part of one day, part of the other day, and part of the other, and then I finished it off because it's just we smell something like like my mom used to cook, and I come in that
Mhm.
kitchen after work, and I just sit there and eat and eat. But you gotta be smart about what you eat and how you eat.
I have learned not to judge people just based off of like nutrition choices because like there's a lot of folks that behind the scenes, I mean, they could be at home doing their best, like eating the boiled eggs, like and trying to figure out how to season the chicken to where like they'll like it more. And like they're trying. And I feel like effort means a lot. It's all about moderation.
Yeah, you got a man. Saffron man KL. He says this. He says, I have a sweet tooth. Don't we all? I mean, I just I ate before I got on. Like sitting there, like earlier, like I said, I was icing my knees because I had a shot and I had one of those little donut sticks for little Debbie's. I was eating that because and yeah, it's just like it's so tasting so good. So
See, it's so funny because like I was raised on, like I said before, snack cakes and a pop. That's how we grew up. You know what I'm saying? It was easy. It was quick. It's so much cheaper than to eat healthy. Mom would go to the store once a month just because like Walmart was so far away. It's like 45 minutes away from us. And, on a limited income, like my dad had disability because he got hurt. So we shopped once a month. Like, if you needed to get the little odds and ends, there was a grocery store about 20 minutes away from the house. And like, we would pick up little things like that to make like hamburgers or something like that. But I mean, nutrition meant nothing to me, it was survival.
yeah,
So I think that's,
that's how I
I
grew up.
mean,
My mother, she had to raise me, my brothers and sisters, and she had to stretch a dollar.
yep,
It's easy to get stuff like you can go to a store, it's selling bologna like 2 packs for $3,
yep.
or processed foods is just easy to get to. It's a lot more expensive to eat healthy, but it's better in the long run. But still, like I said again, not everybody can do what you do. So right now, are you a sponsored athlete or everything's on your shoulders?
Everything is on my shoulders. I have been blessed to be able to come across some friends who have been able to sponsor me. But as far as like a consistent sponsorship, you typically don't see that in our federation.
Yeah, that's thinking about just anybody because unless you are a top level competitor, it's hard to find people that want to sponsor you, especially if you're not on social media a lot. That's one thing about it. Social media is a big thing. Everybody pays attention to it. There's some amazing people who have follow who are just top notch bodybuilders. Particularly one lady who I'm a fan of. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. I call her my girlfriend. Her name is Andrea Shaw.
Oh,
Oh,
she's so pretty. I love her.
yes, she is. Actually, this is a true story. I always want to bring this out because you know what? As my other guy would say, if you get it something, never do for free. And I often call this as my opinion. A friend of mine, her name is Eunice. She runs her own company called Bad Rap. They do clothing and promote women's bodybuilding. She was
Yeah.
at the 2023 Olympia and she ran into Andrea and she got me this issue. And what makes this why I need to put this, I need to put this in a frame or something, but I love it too much. I think I love it. I call it George. And she took the time out and she autographed this for me.
Oh, that is incredible.
And I've ladies have become friendly with send me some stuff and say thank you for supporting. Because the thing is, y'all ladies, when you do sport, most everyday person has their idea what they think about women with muscle. Now you're not as muscly and bubbly as some of the ladies I've seen and follow on social media, but still, I think everyday person is always going to make comments like, "Wow, she's trying to be a man. She got too much muscles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're trying to be young." But that's the thing is, you're an athlete and you dedicate
Mhm.
yourself to a sport where there's not much recognition, not much money. I mean, you just do it for the love of it.
And I think that there's still a lot of misunderstanding as far as bodybuilding goes too. Like people could say that Andrea, like Natalie Colho, she's one of my favorite examples. I think that she is beautiful and she holds herself with such a poise and grace. Like it's the way that she poses. It's still so delicate and feminine, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. There's going to be folks out there that are going to want the more natural, slim, not as field ladies, and then there's going to be some that are like, the bigger the better, honey. Let's go.
Yeah, like I said, you mentioned Natalie Coelho. She is Dr. Natalie Coelho because she's been a couple of my live streams
Ooh.
before. Yeah, she got her doctorate a while back, and she's been a couple of my live streams before. I'm not a big fan of Natalie. I'm not a big fan, but I respect her work ethic and what she wanted about bodybuilding. Like everybody, like everybody. We got here shots of my man KL sticking in here supporting. He says this is Natasha. You ever tried plant-based food?
So I tried a plant-based protein cookie and I thought for sure it was going to taste like crap, but it actually tastes pretty good. The only thing is there's only certain flavors that I like. So I think what it all comes down to is you can make anything taste good with the right flavors.
Yeah, but sometimes with some plant-based foods, they do use more chemicals to make them look more like meat and transform it. Sometimes it's not always the best kind, but if you just eat like a good vegan kind of diet or maybe a little raw food, that's good. Here he goes. He's a hater. He says, "Oh boy, he's telling the story again." Yeah, I'm telling the story because you know what? I'm good at what I'm good at, and and I'm just like I said, I got to toot my own horn. If I don't, who will? I gotta promote myself, brother. Brother, don't be angry. Don't be mad. Don't be hating.
I
Also,
love
he
watching
said,
you guys.
yeah, says he loves the freaky buff chicks. That's like AJ. There's a guy named AJ. He runs a channel called Female Body Channel. And he talks about the freaky buff chicks. And yeah, I like them too, But also I like ladies who have great condition, great shape, and great bodies. Also, here's one more from my KL. He says, I like natural and sometimes enhanced chicks when they don't act up. Well, like I said, that's anything with any woman. Sometimes y'all women can be a headache. I'm thinking about writing a book. And the book, I got the name of it. It's a perfect name. You want the name of it?
I'm so ready.
Okay. Men are from Vulcan, women are from Klingon.
So I think your case study for this book needs to be a woman that is in prep. I think that in particular would be such an incredible study because we get so selfish and we get so I don't want to say angry, but like easily perturbed. It you have to have such a level of selfishness to a point that I can only imagine that I'm an irritation to live with when I'm in prep.
I've heard stories. I mean, you get hangry, you get tired, because even though you're eating, you're not
Mhm.
eating to fill your body. You're eating just to keep it sustained, you
Yep.
know. Um, and then also, one thing I think, like I said again, a lot of ladies I follow are foodies. They love food. They love the taste of it. Like, share with me, with just me, Natasha. I'll kind of call you Natalie. What was that last thing you wanted after you last showed? That thing that you desired, that thing that was, as I often say this, make you stranger, but make you stronger.
You're gonna laugh at me.
No, I'm not gonna laugh.
Potato soup.
That's different.
You can't have white potatoes on prep. They don't serve a purpose. So I wanted that. I wanted it with sour cream, cheese, and bacon. Lord. Mm. The
Yeah.
last time I asked for it at Texas Roadhouse, they said they had taken it off the menu. I almost cried. It was so sad.
I think you used to have it Ruby Tuesdays. I never had it, but I know people told me it was pretty good. And one guy told me he's trying to give it to his girl. She got a little horny. But yeah, it's not the strangest. Actually, one of the ones that really got me. I remember one lady told me said she loves sushi. I said sushi.
Mhm.
I'm like this. I've been poor, but never that poor to eat cold raw fish. That's just me.
I can't do fish. Like we're supposed to do tilapia, once you get past a certain point in prep, and I can't. I can't. I can do all the rice in the world, but I can't do fish. I can do
Yeah.
crab.
Well, you can't have crab. That's not. You can always switch it up. Shrimp possibly. I think with shrimp.
I don't like shrimp though. It's gummy. I don't
I
know.
just
I'm just too particular.
Yeah, I can tell you too. I'm picky eater too. I don't eat a lot of things, but things I do eat, I do like. So here, my man KL, he said this. He says, "Potato soup. Forgive me. I live in Brooklyn. You live in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Zoo. You New Yorkers, y'all different. New York City, New York City. Y'all different breed compared to us. It's just basically just like basic potato. You put it in soup, and that's it. Like you ever like sometimes mom will take boiled soup, and boil some potatoes and get some iced potatoes and cut them up real good and boil them up. Put a little
Mhm.
butter and pepper on them. That's have some fried chicken with it, and maybe some green beans or something. But yeah, I think everybody has the things that taste like. So, is there anybody other than like you mentioned Natalia, someone else you really are a fan of in the sport of bodybuilding, any division or even your organization?
So there is a lady that competes in the NGA, and I did an interview with her, and I've gotten to know her over the past couple of years, and her name is Martha. And I love to tell her story. She's in women's physique in the NGA. And so when I did her interview, she told me that she initially started out in bikini and she didn't do so well. So I went back and I found her pictures, and I'm like, you know, I don't see why, because like was she a little overdeveloped for bikini? Yeah, maybe. But I didn't understand why she didn't do so well. But to be successful in NGA bikini, you have to have a certain bubbliness to your personality. And she puts her head down and she does the work, and like she doesn't feel like she needs to impress anybody. And I just love that self-assuredness. So she gets the advice to switch over to women's physique. And she's like, I don't know about all that, but fine, whatever. I'll give it a try. It does amazing. I was there at the show with her, standing on stage with her when she won her pro card. I was like, "Girl, you're winning it." And she's like, "I don't know about all that." And I'm like, "No, seriously, like you're winning it. You look amazing." And I love the girls who are humble. Um, there's a couple of ladies, I think like a county or two over from me, that compete in the NPC. I love their grind. Um, we have completely different goals, but at the end of the day, like there's certain things that just resonate with me. I It's not one thing in particular. It's everybody's got a gift. You just have to figure out what it is.
Mhm.
And I like the fact that these girls, they don't feel the need to impress anybody. I love it.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's good that you have, met people that you garner friendships with and earn respect of, and that's important. Sometimes women, y'all can be a little catty. Y'all can because it could be competitive. Men
Yep.
we sometimes men we can be competitive, but still we can have a brotherhood, an understanding. One of my jobs, and I mention this often in my interviews, my live streams, that I used to work in a strip club.
Hmm.
Hey, I used to work with, women from day and night. I used to work at a a plant with women. And it's good that you found somebody that you respect their worth ethic and their person. Because you know what? Bodybuilding can be competitive. I know, like, one, as you talk about Natalia, she has a very strong rivalry with the current physique champion, Sarah Vilgas. They don't like, I mean, they did this little thing together where they're sitting in a room and look like a mongoose and a cobra come together. It's you can feel the tension of it. But it's good
Almost like
that
a UFC fight, like the pre-fight where they're sitting there like head up against each other.
yeah. I remember this was it was on Tough. It was there was a fighter by the name of Rampage Jackson, and he was coaching one team, and Sugar Shane Evans was coaching Rashad Evans was coaching another team, and he made a comment said, Rashad said to Rampage, you're all day sucker, and Rampage says, I'm all day sucker, I'm all day sucker. Well, why did you let me then? So that was crazy. Here we got here from NKL. He says this. He says, I tasted sushi a long time ago. It was okay, just don't eat it at all the time. Yeah, yeah.
I think
Women,
it's an acquired taste.
yeah, unless you're Japanese or just somebody who loves it, I'm not that. And that's not me.
I've got a
So,
couple of friends who really like sushi and things like that. I think it's just you like what you like. And as we get older, like we start getting a little more exploratory towards, like different foods, different experiences, and all those things. But I mean, like, we are who we are down at our core.
hmm so
I'm just not a
what's
fish person.
so like I said, are you interested in ever maybe becoming a coach or training with other people?
So it's funny. I actually got my CPT license. I want to say about a year ago. There's not a big market in my area just because like a lot of ladies are just now getting warmed up to the idea of bodybuilding, or they already have a coach. Or, like I've worked with a couple of girls on lifestyle things like establishing good habits and things like that. But I think I've still got a long ways to go. I'm open to learning. Um, I think that I have a lot of good information for ladies who are starting things, but I think as far as like getting real deep into prep and things like that, I know other folks that are more qualified, more educated to do those things. Does that make sense?
That's understandable because you know what? You're you're somebody who's brand new to the sport. And I
Yep.
think a lot of people want to go with somebody who's established, who
Yeah.
understands all the ins and out. But like I said, it's about taking the time, like starting out slow with what you're doing, working with people who want to just do lifestyle changes, and that's good because some ladies who I know who do coach, they do a lot more lifestyle than competitors. Something they want to do competitors because competitors can take a lot of time on you, especially if you're a competitor yourself.
Yes. So that's the thing. I tried to navigate with these ladies through my own prep, and I found that it was really difficult. And like I would make sure that they were attended to, but it almost felt like it was getting too hard for me to maintain my balance as well. So I think, maybe down the road, maybe whenever I have more education, like and more experience under my belt. But what I enjoy right now is getting to go to like these pageants and these modeling events and all these things. And the girls will be like, oh my God, your shoulders look so good. And I'm like, let me tell you, honey, it's not hard. You can do it. And here's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what gets them like interested in it. Because, a lot of these ladies, they're not looking to get huge. They just want to get like skinny or toned.
Tone. That's the thing is, you do need muscle to help you in your body. I used to lift weights when I was in high school. I loved it. It was great. But then I got to high school and got a job. I just didn't have time
And
for it like I
life
used
gets
to.
complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing some workouts. I was doing when I was doing it, I was doing it at home, and then I was going to Planet Fitness. Then I had a setback, and right now I have a car that doesn't work anymore. I mean, right now I'm trying to save for a car. I just if you live out in the
Mhm.
country, it's hard to get around, especially if there's no like my man KL. He's in a big city like New York. There's mass transportation. It's hard to get around. You have to use Pat and Charlie. That's your left foot, right foot.
Yep. Well, around here, like the only kind of public transportation that we have is, excuse me, it's medical related. So folks can get to their doctor's appointments and things like that. But as far as like a bus or even like Uber or anything like that, we don't have that here.
Yeah, I know. I just I got a program where which it's my benefits. 'Cause I get this disability, and I can
Mhm.
get a ride, medical ride. This is why I used this afternoon to go see my orthopedics and get some shots in my knee. 'Cause like I said, in my knees. So and you mentioned earlier that you worked in the jail.
I did. I worked in the county jail.
So oh, you got some stories to tell, don't you?
It was one of my favorite jobs, honest to God. I worked in the men's substance abuse department. And when I first started shadowing there, I was 6 months away from graduating. And they said, well, the only person in this organization that is licensed to be able to direct you like through your practicum is over at the jail. And I'm like, I don't know about all that. And they're like,
Ooh,
well, you're going to have to go to be able to get your licensure. And I'm like, but I'm pregnant. I am due in June. Like, what if one of these guys hits me in the stomach? Like, honest to God, I'm such a horrible person, but you don't know what you don't know. But when I went there, I'm telling you, these guys would open doors for me. They would make sure that I ate all throughout my shift. The food there stank so bad. But they were like, if you're hungry, like, I'll share my food. And I'm like, oh, honey, no, that's yours. I appreciate it. And they're like, well, we just don't want you to get sick. And I'm telling you, some of the most humble, honest, sometimes to a fault, people, I experienced it there. And I learned so much about addiction, like not just substances, but like the food addictions, the sex addictions, all of these different things, just from these candid men.
yeah. Truthfully, I have a problem with food addiction. One might have a problem with sex addiction. I don't know. I know, man. Maybe think about that episode of the Boondocks with the
Yeah.
booty warrior say they like you and they want you. They can do it the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. Saying Tom, it's just good. But I know sometimes I think a lot of those guys they're away from their wives and girlfriends and mothers and when you see a woman, especially the mother in the mother way, they feel like what, maybe think about my girl or my mom. It's good. I think there are people who that make some bad choices in life, and
Mhm.
sometimes have to pay for those choices. Um, Shout out to my man Kiel. He says, you don't have Uber where you at. Well, I did get a lift today. We don't have Uber. And there's another thing that's called seats. So if you have if you want to go to your job or something like that, they do that around here. But I think same thing. I
Yeah,
think it's the same
we
thing to you too.
We don't have anything like that. Like you're either biking it or you're walking it. Or if you're lucky, you may get a friend to jump in the back of the truck bed. I'll tell you this one. So my house flooded back in February. So I told my husband, I was like, let's drive down. Let's see how far we can get. And we'll walk the rest of it. So we parked in a Wendy's parking lot because that's where the water started coming up. And literally nothing could get through it except for tractor trailers. And even then, I mean, like it was coming way up on their grill. So we walked it. Apparently, we figured it out. To get from that part of town to our house is 3 miles. And mind you, it's icing out, but I have to know about the house. I have to know. So we walk it. It takes us an hour. So we go check. We see that half of the house is underwater. So I was like, well, we can't get in there. Like we can't look at the damage because I mean it's just too covered up. It's too dangerous. Like you can't even get in there with wading boots at this point. So we start walking back down the road, and these sweet little guys, they stop on the side of the road and they're like, "Where you going?" We're like, "Coal Run, 3 miles away." And they're like, "You ain't walking, are you?" Well, yeah, we walked down here about 3 miles. They're like, "Well, you can get in the truck bed. We're going up that way. We'll take you to the Double Quick," which
Oh,
is like, the local,
it's like
depending on where you are,
7-Eleven,
like yeah, or like a Quick Trip, whatever. Yeah, it's
little
like
gas
your
station around the
basic
corner.
gas station.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
So so we get in the truck bed because I mean, like that was a very lucky happenstance for around here because I mean, like you don't have any kind of public transportation. You have the goodness of others. That's it.
This is true. This is true story with me. This was like one of the biggest hurricanes that hit in our area was Matthew. It just messed up
Hmm.
everything. We went where I live. It wasn't too bad, but my mom got sick during the storm. So that next day, I called ambulance, took her to the hospital, where they said that they were going to put her into a rehabilitation place for a while because they didn't want to send her back home because our lights were out. So I had to go there and stay with her. I had to find 5 or 6 ways to get around because there was trees knocked down, everything was knocked down.
Hmm.
Then when I got into Lumberton, which is our county seat, the water was up, and in my car, it just clunk on me. But this
Yeah.
lady, she saw me side the road. She said, "I'm going to the hospital because she need to get some medication. You want to take a ride with me?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take a ride with you." And I stayed in a with the rehab mom. I was taking care of her in the rehab. I learned some things, so I was taking care of her. Yeah, you don't know what you can do when you put in a situation like that. I mean, KL, he says, when you say sex addiction, were they paying for sex? Well, most guys don't really pay. Most time it's just if they find somebody, you find a local, she's willing and she's willing, you don't have to pay. But yes, in some cases, yeah, there's a exchange of money for goods.
Well, I think around here we refer to that more as like a not so much a sex addiction, more as a situationship.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I had one of those situations. It been a long time since I touched a lady. But but yeah, like I said, I don't where I live like you, I live in a very small town and I'm probably related to half everybody in it. So I gotta be careful. I don't want no kids with, playing banjos and messing with farm animals. Yeah, yeah, I gotta be careful. I remember one time, it's a true story. I was I was at my doctor's appointment. I saw this chick. She was holding this baby. And I said,
Mhm.
she got a, and then realized it was my first cousin,
Oh God.
my aunt's daughter, my father's sister.
Dang.
So yeah, but yeah, you got to be careful like that. But in this process, as you training now, would you feel like you think you might be interested in jumping over to maybe like ABC, the dark side? Or there's also OCB, which is also a natural organization.
I had considered both at one time. So, my big thing is I really love my NGA family. Like we've grown pretty close to each other. Nothing wrong with NPC. I mean, the caliber of competitors that comes out of that. I mean, like I'm just not sure that I could ever be that competitive. And it's the same with OCB, because they've got some local shows as well. But just there's a couple of different factors that go into that. So NGA is a little bit more affordable, so I can afford to do the travel and the shows, all the different things. So, like, I've got my bikini, I've got my shoes, I know how to do my hair and makeup, all of those things. But I'm just not sure how my physique would line up in with those things. And I kind of feel like I would be missing some of my community because unfortunately I would be comparing them. And there's nothing wrong with either one of their organizations. It's just a personal choice, you know?
Yeah, it's about what works for you, how you feel, where you fit at. I
Yep.
know some ladies will eventually, this is it's about the process as you grow as an
Mhm.
athlete, and everybody's not at the same level. I think everybody trying to find the right place that works for them. And again, the financial part is a big part of it because I said again, y'all ladies, y'all have to have your hair, your makeup, your tanning. Those are expenses you got, and then when we go to the shows and we look at y'all, we don't understand that y'all hungry, y'all tired, y'all nearly dehydrated. You've been training all week, just getting ready for your peak week for the show. We see these
Mhm.
amazing bodies, and we get like, wow, this is that chick. He like that. Say like, yo, who's that chick? Say that's my wife. That's Jerry. Say, hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's about understanding how far you want to go. Now everybody's gonna do like everybody else, like do like use performance enhancers or whatever, but it's about finding something that works for you. Here, my man Kia, he said this. Yeah, George, you have to go somewhere else, meet other women, bro. Good God. Well, like brother, I don't have time. I don't have time for that. I mean, it's expensive to have a woman. I can ask Jerry if he's there. It's expensive to have a woman.
For
It's
real.
easy. It's easy just to be by myself. So, but like I said again, this is a sport that you really have to love when you get into it and understand the
Mhm.
factors like training. Like, what's the thing is you feel like is your best physical feature, especially when you're up down stage?
I know it's gonna sound really funny. I really like my shoulders. And, when I first started working with the NGA, I got a physique assessment and I got told that I had nice obliques, and that's something that really stuck with me. I I've been working for a couple of years to be able to build up my muscularity, and, like, I can see them starting to peak out now too, but it's really hard, and it's gonna be for men and women both. I got a little bit of, like, body dysmorphia now from it just because, like, I see what can be, and I'm like, we just need to cut down just a little more and just a little more and just a little more. And you're never satisfied, which is a good thing, but it can also be like really detrimental. And I think that's the reason why we need to make sure to take regular breaks. But the last time that I stepped up on stage, I was a little heavier, but I did what I went there to do. And that was the important part. But I noticed that my shoulders were popping real nice. And I'm like, I remember having a conversation with somebody about 4 years ago that I was like, I'm never going to grow out my shoulders.
They're like it's the gun show, like, hey, look at these. You're like, yeah, come on. So, what's the training like? Like, what's like often ask this? What's that thing you love the most when in the gym? That thing says, "Damn, I don't want to do this shit."
I hate Bulgarian split squats.
Oh,
I hate the hack squat. The last time I got on one back a couple of years ago, it made me cry.